Dear students, today we are going to discuss the English language ICSE question paper. This is the 2020 paper. Few things before we begin. See, the question paper provides some suggestions for you which you should keep in mind while you are taking the test. First is, in question number 1, which is the composition question, the question paper highlights and tells you that you have around 30 minutes to take this question. This is the suggestion which you should stick to, otherwise you may lose time for other questions. Coming to question number 1, one more suggestion. Write in 300 to 350 words. Each composition, whichever you choose, you should stick to this word limit, otherwise you will again lose time. Coming to the first question. The question is, write an original short story entitled The Secret. Now, pay attention to this word which is highlighted, and the word is original. So, you need not or you should not copy from any book or movie or drama whatsoever you may have read into this story. Now, the topic of the story is the secret. So it is obvious there has to be some secret in the story. Continuing with the topic of the story, now you know a story basically must contain few of the elements. For example, in a story, the most important thing is the plot. Now, plot, or what you may call is the storyline, is how the story begins, how the story moves forward, how it reaches the climax, and how it ends. Second thing is the characters in the story. A story without character is not a story. So you should ideally have at least 3 characters in the story. Now that your story has characters, they need to interact with each other. Now these interactions are written in the story as dialogues. So your story must have dialogues. Now how do you write a dialogue? It is in double inverted commas, just like you write a direct speech. This is important for a story. Please note, if a story doesn't have proper dialogues, you will lose marks. And the next is the atmosphere of the story. How do you create an atmosphere? For example, if you're writing a story which is full of suspense, how will you create that suspense in your writing, in the scenes that you create in your story? Now, in this story, the title is The Secret. So, you must keep the following things in your mind. The short story must be centered around something that was kept a secret for a long time and was later revealed. It should not be a secret between you and your friend which you reveal in the story at the beginning, but at the end it is revealed to the other characters in the story. It should be a secret which is not revealed even to the reader till he reaches the end. Should include an element of surprise or suspense. Now, if you have ever read a suspense short story, or if you have ever watched a suspense movie, you will see the revelation of the suspense is presented in the form of a surprise, which is what you have to include in your story. And if you can include a touch of humor to your story, that will give you further bonus points. Now see, if you are copying a story from somewhere, they will immediately deduct a certain set percentage of marks. Say for example, like the story is of 20 marks. They will deduct 8 to 10 marks immediately and give you marks out of 10 or 12, whatever you deserve. So there is a gross loss in marks. Moving on to the second composition, a family without pets is an incomplete family. Express your views either for or against the statement. Now note this word. It says for or against the statement. So you cannot, or you should not rather, write on both the aspects. You will have to choose either for or against and then continue with your composition. Now, how will you choose for or against? You will write down the points of for and you will write down the points of against in the rough, and then the points which have more weightage, you will choose that particular side, maybe for or against the statement. Remember, your view has to be specifically supporting that particular side and should not at any point of time say that you also agree with the other aspect of the statement. Views for or against the motion are to be given by the student. Credit is to be given for a cohesive, well-constructed, logical argument and ideas and reasoning based on personal experience. Students must establish why pets are or are not important for the well-being and happiness of a family. Examples should be given to prove their argument. Students are expected to give at least 2 to 3 points for what they are supporting and must take a clear stand on their views. Students, you are advised preferably not to attempt the argumentative question. Reason, you may have A, B, C points and the marking scheme may have X, Y, Z points which may result in you losing some marks. There are other options which you can opt, but try not to attempt the argumentative essays which you must have been told in class 9. Coming to the next topic, this is a descriptive question. And the question is rather, which do you prefer? Morning, afternoon, evening, or night? So, there are a few things we must be aware of. First is morning, afternoon, evening, or night. So you have to choose only one of these four. You cannot write a generalized description of all the four, or you should not write on any of these, maybe 2 or 3. You have to choose only one. Now describe your favorite time of the day. So why is this your favorite time of the day that you need to describe? Second, look at these points. What are the sights? What are the sound, smell, and feelings that you associate with your favorite time of the day? Now, sight in the morning. Suppose, for example, you have chosen morning. So morning sight, what do you like to see in the morning? What it is that when you go out in the morning and you get mesmerized? What are the sounds? For example, the chirping of the birds. Smell, maybe the flowers. Feelings, how do you feel in the morning? You feel fresh, you feel energetic. All these things have to be mentioned in your description. Now, why do you like this part better than the others? Now here, in this part, you will have to compare with Say, for example, you have chosen evening. Why is evening better than morning, afternoon, or night? Now, this question, if you see, it has one, two, three, four parts. So, all these four parts will have marks. So, if you miss on any of the parts, you are obviously going to lose marks. Okay, coming to the next question. This is a narrative one. Have you ever said or done something that changed the life of any person? Give an account of your words or actions that led to this change and describe how the experience made you feel. Now, see, the question has certain parts. How have you ever said or done something that has changed the life of a person? Give an account of your words or actions which led to the change and describe. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six things. Now it can be an experience. See, first and foremost, it is you. So you are part of this narration. Regarding this question, you must keep few things in mind. You have to mention a brief account of words which you might have expressed or the actions which you might have done, the impact on the other person, the effect on the narrator, that is you. Remember, this is the first person account. I must be the protagonist, means you should be the protagonist, and action, impact, whatever can be positive as well as negative. So your words, your actions may have had a negative impact on the person or a positive impact on the person. But I would sincerely suggest that you stick to the positive impact on the person. Next, we move on to the picture composition. Now let's read the question. Study the picture given below and write a story or a description or an account of what it suggests to you. Your composition may be about the subject of the picture or you may take suggestions from it. However, there must be a clear connection between the picture and your composition. Now note one thing in this question, please. This point or a description. Keep in mind, I'll come to it later. Now, what is expected? Now let's see the picture first. There's a little boy who's standing in front of this group of students, or this group of children rather, and he's holding a slipper in the form of as if he's holding a mobile, and they are posing as if a selfie is being clicked. Now look at the environment. It doesn't seem to be an urban environment, rather it's sort of a rural environment, and the locality seems to be of maybe lower middle class or even lower. Now, what is expected in this answer? They will expect a wide interpretation. So when you see this picture and you plan to write anything, a wide interpretation will be accepted. Any relevant ideas taken from the picture will be accepted. Any relevant idea. However, now note, however, a mere itemization, for example, there are two girls, two boys, and one boy holding the slipper, or listing, just listing what all you can see in this image. Students, now I will discuss the various types of errors that makes you lose marks in your essay. Now remember, the examiner is ruthless. He will not overlook any of these errors resulting into losing heavy marks. The errors are punctuation errors, spelling errors, short forms. Now, what is short form? For example, instead of writing cannot, you have written can't, won't, couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. All these are errors, and you'll be losing half mark per error. Then, using numerals. Instead of writing 19 as NINETEEN, you have written 19. You're going to lose half marks. Then there are another type of errors. These are tenses error, articles error, prepositions error, and use of wrong English. In this case, you are going to lose 1 mark per error. Then there are few more errors. For example, you have written your entire essay correctly, but there are no paragraphs. You will lose 2 marks of whatever you have achieved because you have not used paragraphs. Continuing with the errors in the essay, now there are errors like beginning a sentence with and, but, because. These are errors where you will lose marks. Now, if for any reason, if you don't know or whatever, you have written an irrelevant essay, means it doesn't relate to the topic. In that case, you will be awarded very less marks, maybe 2 or 3 out of 20. Another situation is when you have lifted from a story or a movie and written your entire essay. In that case, you will be losing 1/4 of the entire marks that you have achieved. So if you have achieved, say, 12, 1/4 of that will go away and you will be getting only 9 marks. Dear student, that was all about the essay question of ICSE 2020 board exam. Now you know how you're supposed to write these essays and where you would lose marks and how. Coming to the assignments, the first assignment that you're going to do for your language is the first essay. Write an original story entitled The Secret. In the next session, we will be discussing how to write a letter, both formal and informal, and where and how you lose marks in these types of letters. Thank you.